Today, I want to announce an important step forward in the situation in North Korea. This afternoon, we have received formal confirmation from North Korea that it will freeze the major elements of its nuclear program. South Korea, with support from Japan and other nations, will bear most of the cost of providing North Korea with fuel to make up for the nuclear energy it is losing.
It was intended to halt North Korea from obtaining plutonium out of a nuclear reactor. Supposedly, this reactor was to supply electricity, but it wasn't connected to the electrical grid. The deal, which was struck in 1994, averted a military conflict, but it was heavily criticized, and it actually had a fair amount of trouble getting off the ground and muddled through most of Bill Clinton's term.
To this day are the highest ranking American official to ever meet with the head of state. You did it as President Clinton's Secretary of State to solve the problem with Kim Jong-il.
Towards the end of his presidency, relations had begun to improve.
It's been a night of first giving it to Al Gore, then taking it away on the part of the networks. George Walker Bush, the new president of the United States.
Bush came into office in 2001, said he didn't want to do the Clinton approach.
States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil.
But the Bush administration couldn't figure out exactly what its approach would be. So nothing really happened. And that was the point when U.S. intelligence discovered pretty firm evidence that they thought indicated that North Korea was actually cheating on the agreement. The Bush administration used this intelligence to confront the North Koreans and to say they were going to punish them by ending the supply of fuel oil. The North Koreans said, "You end the fuel oil, you've ended the agreement." They kicked out the inspectors and they removed the plutonium.
Last night, the government of North Korea proclaimed to the world that it had conducted a nuclear test.
Bush suddenly wanted to make a deal, and he empowered his negotiators to begin negotiating directly with the North Koreans in a desperate effort to get North Korea to give up its nuclear weapons. And North Korea essentially pocketed all those concessions and kept making nuclear weapons. The Obama people said they were not going to make the same mistake. Unfortunately, for the next 8 years, the talks never really got started.
Pyongyang's latest missile test rattling its neighbors, Japan, on Monday, saying the launch shows a step forward in North Korea's weapons program.
The conundrum that the Trump administration faces is that North Korea is a nuclear weapon state. Generally, countries do not give up nuclear weapons that they have developed themselves. So could the agreed framework have survived if George Bush had not killed it? That's unclear, but once North Korea got its hands on the plutonium, the nuclear genie was out of the bottle. Here's one funny story that I heard about the agreed framework. An American official was visiting the capital, Pyongyang, when he decided to visit a little museum that had little exhibits of landmarks in North Korea. And it had these little cars that would go up and down, ski lifts or things like that. And he was surprised to see that there was actually a replica of the nuclear facility at Yongbyon sitting there. But unlike the other exhibits, which had the running cars and moving chairlifts, this was completely dark. So he turned to his minder and asked him, why was this one not running? And the minder looked at him completely seriously and said, under the agreed framework, all nuclear activities must be halted.